buckets can impact your overall financial strategy. Spreading your assets among different tax treatments can help manage risk and potentially
IRA. The only problem is you're going to pay tax on it, but we could go over to the IRA. The only problem is you're going to pay tax on it, but we could go over to the Roth account and we can start taking money out of that account, and not pay tax. But the dilemma is, maybe we not pay tax. But the dilemma is, maybe we should leave that account alone and let it continue to build. Make sure you had a great life, so we call it a spend and leave plan. You start with a certain amount of money in a lump sum in all these 4 accounts, and the goal is for you to have a great life and your spouse to have a great life, but when you pass away, an amount equal to or greater than you started with will pass on to your children and grandchildren tax-free. That's using true diversification, not only in the market, but in the tax code.
Understanding these tax buckets is a key element in crafting a smart, tax-efficient strategy for your retirement and investments. If you're looking for tailored advice on managing your tax strategy and enhancing your financial plan, our team is here to help. Coach Pete and the team at
the bookies money, we call it, because you've got all the money you invested back.
There you go.
Well, a whole lot easier to hold something long-term, Bruce, when it's not really costing you.
See, you get a...
You know, I tell people all the time, you're not getting any younger. You don't get to take any of it with you.
Right.
And if you think about that, it means you are supposed to spend money, but there's a lot of people who can't go into their assets to spend. They just, because, well, what if I need it? What if I live too long? What if, and so then they end up living this suboptimal retirement. And if they can get these streams of income that they can feel confident in spending, they can actually have a better retirement.
Yeah, we call it a financial fill-up strategy. And if you remember back in the day, you'd go to the gas station, you'd go to the pump, and
Welcome into our series on the Big Book on Retirement. Consumer advocate Thomas Lipscomb here with you alongside Coach Pete Neruda, president, founding principal.
Clue how much they could spend without worrying about outliving money.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have any fun because they were worried about spending too much, but they could have spent a whole lot more, or if they just had that simple playbook put together. So if you don't have a playbook, now's a good time to do it.
It absolutely is. And this playbook carries so many aspects. I mean, you know, it absolutely is. And this playbook carries so many aspects. I mean, you know, I was just flipping through the chapter here a little bit. It goes into long-term care.
A lot of folks are saying, gosh, I can't. A lot of folks are saying, gosh, I can't afford a long-term care policy, or I've heard so many bad things about long-term care policies.
Yep.
I need $100,000 out of my death benefit of $1 million. Send it to me, and they do tax-free.
Wow.
So you could technically do that 10 years, $100,000 a year. Your insurance will be gone, but it's served its purpose. It's helped you. And life insurance used to be for when you die. Now it's for the living. Yeah. So if you haven't had that explained, or if you have a life insurance policy that doesn't have that in there, sometimes it's more affordable to get the new policy with the long-term care than it is to have the current policy. So let's get a review of that and make sure you're in control. What we've always done for 32 years, I put my clients in control of the money world instead of paying attention or not having to worry about paying attention or being beholden to whatever the money world says. Now you are paying attention without even having to, because you got Coach Pete looking out for you.
Yes.
Putting you in control of the money world. So that's what the whole chapter is about. The whole book is about too. But it's all about our premise about meeting with us so we put you in control instead of you being in the back seat. Now you're in the front seat.
Exactly.
So call and get your free review, folks.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, folks. Call, text, however you'd like to connect with us. You see the options there on the screen. We'd be honored to sit down with you. Coach, you have an amazing team of fiduciary planners.
Put everything
here
in writing too, folks. There's no surprises because everything is in writing.
It's true.
Very important, by the way.
Don't. Joe, can you help me?
Consumer Electronics Show, Thomas.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Consumer Electronics Show, where they show all the neat stuff that's coming up that you can't afford.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe, how was the event? Was it worthwhile attending?
The event was eye-opening, and you know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Saw a lot of cool stuff. I mean,
but what do you see AI becoming here in the next, let's say, 5 years and a decade?
Well, I see, service millions of customers, right? Well, today AI, you're able to deploy very, very sophisticated software using a cloud base, and companies are able to scale like nothing you've ever seen. I mean, they can go to these billion-dollar valuations literally in a very, very short period of time. And just to hear about what AI is becoming and what it is, it just opened my eyes. This year was fantastic.
So when you're a startup company, one of the main problems is finding enough people to help you get to become a big company. So I think AI can eliminate that need for a lot of employees, can it?
Absolutely. And when you look at what AI's the trajectory of AI, and of course I'm guilty. Pedals disappear, and this thing takes you to where you can't do anything. You just sit back and enjoy.
Keeps user error from happening.
That reminds me of the movie I, Robot with Will Smith, and the police were coming after him, and the whole car basically could shut itself down.
Yeah, exactly it. Right?
Did he give you? Did they have rides available in that car, or was it just a display?
They had it displayed in the Fontainebleau Hotel, and I'm sure at some point, certain folks probably could take a test ride, and but it wasn't there for me to do the test ride. I'd love to have done it, but it was in the hotel. You could get in it. You could check it all out. It was amazing.
Yeah. Now, NVIDIA had probably a big display too, right? Because they're a big AI company with the chips.
Oh yeah. They had some of their servers out there. They had some of their robots. They had some video of futuristic goals that they're pressing toward, and just a huge display.
What really surprised you, like you weren't expecting to see at CES this year?
Obviously AI was going to be there, no doubt. Glasses, because they're freaking amazing. I don't know if you've ever tried any.
I bought them twice and never used them. Right? I got the first generation, and then I just got this. I didn't buy the second one. I got it as a gift on Christmas time, but I haven't ever used them. But I have seen online there are some non-name brand smart glasses. You get these ads on Facebook all the time. One would translate for you. One would tape every single minute of your day, just in case you forgot what was going on, which again is good for people as we get older. We forget things.
Yeah.
So you can't say you don't remember anymore.
You just look at it through the glasses and say, "Yep,
okay,
yep."
okay." Like
nanobots going in and just doing their job for a few seconds.
Now, speaking of bots, what kind of personal robots did you see?
Well, they had robots folding clothes. They had them moving dishes around in the kitchens, and so a lot of homemaking type robots that I found very cool, because most of the ones you see are the ones that's sweeping up the floor. And the little black thing running around, but
we have a couple of those here. We have a couple of those here. I think of when you talk about folding clothes, I think about the Jetsons. Rosie. Yeah. Rosie was a little maid robot, and so Rosie. Yeah. Rosie was a little maid robot, and so one thing I hate doing is laundry, but I do my own laundry, and I really hate folding. So that was
I saw an announcement that, and I'm not sure the brand. It might have been LG. I saw an announcement that, and I'm not sure the brand. It might have been LG, but they did a wallpaper.
Yeah, your major TV brands were there. They had their displays, but the TV and panelists off and on all day long. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to some of the panelists talk and just hearing some of the techie guys and some
just a normal person that's going to CES. You've got a pretty big tech background. Where'd you go to college?
Well, I went to Ohio State and I've attended MIT, and I love tech. I love digging into the stuff, and just I'm the guy that wants to know how the watch works.
Now, you said Ohio State. Usually when someone says Ohio State, they say the Ohio State.
The Ohio State, yeah.
Thomas, you've heard that before, right? Yes. Yeah, you watch any football game when the guys announce where they're from. Go, the Ohio State. So, which I've been to Columbus. It's a nice place. I mean, I've been to Notre Dame too. Those are like nice college towns.
Yeah, I had a Subway store not far from campus there on 23. Have big vision, and then that are looking to be a disruptor. You take Elon Musk. His goal is to colonize Mars. I mean, that's just like way up there. And these companies, fortunately, when you aim high, that you might not hit the stars, but you're going to get into the atmosphere of space, and that's what, when you're looking at these companies, seeing the technology.
Displays.
Well, one of the displays that really caught my attention was they had a display there where they had an omnidirectional treadmill, and there was a guy that was in the VR suit, and basically he was in Ready Player One. Total. I mean, he had the whole get up, and they had a bunch of demonstrations going on, lots of people in those suits, and I was watching what they were seeing in the TV, and I thought, oh my God, gaming is coming it has came a long way, and this is the evolution of the gaming industry right here.
You know, when you think about gaming growing up, it was the fat kid that would just sit inside and play on sit in front of the TV. But now you have interactive gaming where you can get in shape by playing games. And that makes sense. I told Thomas, and Jose, you probably heard this too, the game. But now you're going to have to work out to play the games, because if not, you're going to get killed too easy on the game.
One thing that did stand out too, that I don't know, I just never had thought of this, but listening to a lot of the CEOs of these different companies speak, and some of the producers at Hollywood, they are bringing influencers out now and allowing them to stream from the TV set. They're bringing them into these companies and allowing them to stream to their audiences. And that's how these movies, they clearly said it, that's how these movies go through these huge ticket sales prior, as the movie's coming out, because they let these streamers are coming in, and I thought that was very, very interesting.
You have to build the excitement, because back in the day, they would wait maybe 6 months before a movie would come out. You started hearing about it, then you started seeing advertisements on TV.
To probably be a $1 trillion industry before you know it, and that's something to really, explore, find companies that are focused on agentic type of AI. That's going to be your autonomous type AI. And that's going to be the big thing here down the road.
So AI without you having to be around, I guess.
That's
right?
exactly
without you
it.
having to pilot it. Okay.
The self-driving car, for example, would be agentic AI.
Okay. What about, that's what we always hear about, self-driving car. What else could we, what other, you think it'd be self-driving planes down the road?
Oh, boy.
You get on a plane, there's no pilot up there?
I'm sure that'll eventually be the case. I don't want to be that first few guys that get in there and,
Anything else that excited you during the show?
I just, going through and just seeing the technology, seeing the massage chairs, that was pretty exciting, because now they've got them where they'll stretch your whole body out, and so that was pretty nice. Really, just being overwhelmed is probably the word. You can only see so many things before your brain's like, bleh.
Oh yeah.
But there was so many cool things. There was a couple, I'll tell you something that I saw that was really interesting, and you may have seen these before and you may not. They had crafts there that are full size, and you can put 1 or 2 people in and fly them around. It's a giant drone. So
do you get in it like, I remember Orville and Wilbur Wright, they would get in there like,
pretty much.
Like Superman. Is that what you need? Is it big enough? It's a big drone then. It's a
big drone. It's got big blades on it, and I'm sure it has some limitations, but you can literally get it.
In the conference, whatever they call it, the convention center.
Was the name of Gym Monster. That's the name of it.
Okay.
And this is the granddaddy of it up, and it's like hardly
That's amazing.
Anything.
So what?
It up, and it's like hardly
That's amazing.
Anything.
So what innovation made you say, why hasn't this existed before?
I would say the drone was probably that. I was like, wow, I'm surprised it's kind of taken this long, because drones has been out for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And and again, I may just be behind in that area, but when I saw that, I was just like, wow. The gaming, I'll tell you, the gaming came a long way. Just seeing those people in the full gear, I can't remember device, that whether that's a band you put around your wrist, and it has a small projection that when you hit the button, it kind of pops up, and you got everything kind of almost in the air. I did see a phone up, and you got everything kind of almost in the air. I did see a phone there though that was really amazing, and it was pretty much brand new. So eventually you'll probably see that hit the market at some point.
Because all these companies are trying to come out with the thing that replaces the phone, right? So but I guess it's a ways down the road. Now, if this wasn't your first trade show, you've been to CES before, right?
Yeah.
How do you compare this? What's your favorite speaker? Who was your favorite speaker?
It was a panelist that basically was speaking on the future of the coaching and digital marketing industry, and it was a combination of, you had a guy there from Twitch and just how they, work with the people that's on their site. So definitely check that out.
So you say this year's like just more bigger, more faster, more better. It sounds like just everything that the excitement level seems to be higher.
I think the excitement level was super high because AI was just everywhere.
And if you could just put yourself back in those couple days, you were there for 2 or 3 days probably. What was the most exciting moment that you had? Where you just felt excited about the future?
Oh, that's when I won. I pulled the handle, and all of a sudden, this big thing started flashing. It said I won.
Oh yeah, How much did you win? How much did you win? You win a lot.
Well, I'd say
for IRS purposes, we'll keep it under 10,000.
Yeah, we'll keep it under 10,000. But I would say probably the biggest thing was leaving the show. I felt like I had a new absolutely, and blockchain's going to continue to emerge, especially with quantum computer. And you put blockchains and quantum computers together, that's going to be a huge deal, especially when we have access to it.
Yeah, I really think that's the future of voting. If we can perfect the voter ID, then if people vote on the blockchain, there'll be no more cheating anymore.
That's exactly right.
And so that's the way to go. One final thing: your favorite restaurant while in Vegas?
My favorite restaurants, believe it or not, it was just Gordon Ramsay's Burger Bar at the Planet Hollywood.
I've heard good things about that, actually. He's got some of his other places, like Hell's Kitchen is good, but it's expensive and it's a long wait. But the Burger Bar is good. The best steakhouse I've ever been to there is the Golden Steer.
Oh, yeah.
Golden Steer.
Yeah,
it's featured in the movie Casino.
Yeah.
It's one of the old-timey ones, but it's one of the best steaks ever. So just keep that in mind. You've probably been there before.
Yeah.
All right. His name is Joe Casey, and he's one of the guys that I like to talk to when we talk about tech and also investing. Joe, thanks for your time today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Coach Pete. Love it. Look.
This is a Little Green Book of Life. It's on Amazon. I've had it out for years. It's 100 pages. It's interactive, though, where it asks you estate planning questions. It asks you where your money is, where your life insurance is, what's the phone number of the life insurance company. The problem is my father passed away this year, and this came in handy because he actually did fill some of this out before he passed away. When you pass away, people don't know. He did fill some of this out before he passed away. When you pass away, people don't know. Like you have these secrets. Well, what's my Facebook passcode? We could probably do it because then I finally gave up. He was going to the dump. His wife threw away his computer. He was doing spring cleaning, and on his computer had his Bitcoin codes. And he searched the dump for over 10 years looking for it because it was worth like $1 billion, and he never found it.
If you were a farmer, and I've used this analogy before, and you had a field, and you were out in your field, you were planting corn seeds that day, and you look into the entrance of the farm, you see a big dust cloud coming, and it's 3 big SUVs pulling up into your yard, and they get out of the farmhouse, and 3 guys get out of each one of those with sunglasses on, looking like Men in Black. And they say, Mr. Farmer, we're going to give you a choice today, and this is going to be a lifetime choice, and you better think about it. And they say, we're either going to tax you today on the corn, there's little corn niblets you're putting in the ground. We're going to tax you on that little bag of corn niblets, and we're going to leave forever. Or we're going to not tax you today. You don't have to pay tax today, Mr. Farmer. You got a great day. You're not going to pay tax. But we're going to be back every single year that you harvest and tax you on every ear of corn forever. As the farmer, which one would you take? You know what the average American is doing? They're saying, oh, thanks for the choice, Mr. IRS. We would gladly not pay taxes today. We'll see you every single harvest season forever. And then we'll also see you on our harvest when we die. So, no. The answer is no. Don't use those tax-deferred accounts all the time, or don't get addicted to them, because there are better choices out there.
Financial freedom. I can tell by looking at you, you feel financial free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk.
Right.
And I'm out there every day and play golf 4 to 5 days a week.
I see you.
Pickleball 2 days a week. I mean, I'm taking it serious. My wife and I are going on Viking cruise from Budapest to Amsterdam. That's what retirement's supposed to be about.
Having fun.
Is having fun. And that's what I'm doing.
mind in shape and make sure your plan's in shape.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so
yeah, I'm tracking
same
that.
kind of concept. I mean, you can tell.
Tracking
You can tell if you ever watch a sporting event, some teams look more prepared than others. Tell if you ever watch a sporting event, some teams look more prepared than others.
It's true. So that's a good thing. It's true. So that's a good thing. Now, preparing for a sport, you may run, you may do.
Spending down all their money. In other words, giving their money away, retitling it in their kids' names or whatever. Getting themselves down, it looks like they don't have much money, so they can go qualify for Medicaid, which the state takes care of you. The problem, there's a lot of problems here. If you do that, the government can go back 5 years and saw you move money on purpose. You can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And do you really want the government to decide where they're going to put you? You can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And do you really want the government to decide where they're going to put you? If you're on Medicaid, you have no control about what facilities you're about trying to play these games. But that's just one thing. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, what else we have?
So there's a lot going on here, and I think the main one that I want to focus on is actually the very last one, and that's ask the right questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
well, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions to begin with. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask for the answers in writing, by the way.
Good.
We give all our answers in writing because someone can say anything, and then they can deny they said anything if you don't have it in writing.
Yes.
So make sure you get it in writing. It shouldn't be confrontational anyway. We are here to help you. We want to make sure that you have the best retirement possible, and any planner should do that too. So every decision we make is in your favor. That's the definition in my mind of a fiduciary.
Yes.
Always doing what's best for you. If we benefit, that's so we explain when we benefit, but we can't take commissions out of your money, number one, as a fiduciary. So if you have somebody taking commissions out of your money, they're not a real fiduciary.
Yeah, I love that.
So again, the more money you can keep for yourself, the more money you're going to have later, and the more you can understand fees and commissions. Make sure they're not meme coins unless you're going to actively watch that and get in low and get out quick in a matter of hours or seconds.
That's good, yeah.
I like long-term holding. I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum. I like, Solana, and I like Ripple, and I also like Nano, and I like T7X, and there's a couple other ones out there. There's some good ones out there. So, but you need to find what you like.
Hey, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us here on our info.
We see the lump sum. It looks nice. So you won that race. You answered your question. It was a long answer. Is anytime you're ready, we can discuss income.
Okay.
But once you get it discussed and accomplished, you never have to worry about it again.
That is a beautiful
That's
thing.
a good thing. Get it that little green check mark.
I wish they
They
would
put in
teach
front of
this.
it.
Aren't they going to start teaching this in school?
Well, they're
They've said
not,
that
and
for 2
you're never going to
decades.
teach it the
Right.
right way. You need to deal with someone who really specializes in lifetime income, not
Okay.
just how to save and where to save
All right.
and what to do there. It's how to get that lifetime income you deserve. And most folks don't specialize in this. They specialize in trying to grow your money, grow, but never tell you how to preserve, protect, and give you lifetime income. That's what Coach Pete does.
The hidden fees is the one thing that
Financial
the termites.
Financial
termites.
Oh my
termites.
gosh.
All in somebody's plan. So and you can't see them.
No.
Sort of like a real. That's why we call them financial termites.
Yeah.
Termites at home are invisible, but they're doing damage. Fees in your portfolio are invisible, but they're doing a ton of damage. They could take half your income away if you don't know what you're doing. So let us analyze your portfolio first, a forensic financial fee analysis we call it, and identify all the unnecessary risk, fees, commissions you're taking, and then put a plan together that makes more sense for what you're trying to do. Have income all the way through retirement. We do it every day.
Yeah, because we're just kind of, I feel like we're going through life and putting money in this 401k account. You know, you're a busy woman.
And you go
both are
without
busy.
because you're putting money in this plan.
Yes.
This plan better be working, and it better
Yep.
be more money than I put in the future, or why didn't I just have fun with this money?
And you haven't
Right.
diversified. You've messed up.
Yep.
You've put all your eggs in one basket,
That's
and then
right.
all of a sudden, here you are, high and dry at retirement age.
The
Right.
income basket needs to have a whole lot of eggs in it when we get close to retirement, because they're
Yeah.
going to hatch all the way through retirement. You're never going to have any worries again.
Yeah, we like that. We know how to make eggs hatch.
Yeah.
We do the income plans better than anybody out there. I
Yes,
guarantee.
yes,
I'm
yes.
33 years doing this,
Yes,
so
I
that's a
know.
long time, by the way. I know I have boyish good looks, but
I just
am
wanna-
59.
I want to make the point that it's so important because if women think they're going to live on just Social Security and take
scary.
Right, take a little money out of that IRA that used to be our 401k. You might run out of money, and women 65 and over are more likely to face poverty.
Well, if they don't do the right plan.
That's right.
My clients
That's
never have
scary.
poverty
I
because
know.
we put an income plan together that guarantees they'll never be in poverty.
Great.
Unless you spend all the time
Yeah.
and then spend more than you have, or go to Vegas and get into debt with credit
Well-
cards. There's nothing anyone can do about that. But we'll show you how to properly use credit cards, how to properly have fun, and to have income you never have to worry about outliving. It's not as hard as you think. And
Good.
there's nothing to be intimidated by the money world. I know the big words are used a lot of times to try to intimidate you. Like when you go, but I'll meet with folks after a year or two in retirement, and I'll look and I'll say, but I'll meet with folks after a year or two in retirement, and I'll look and I'll say, you're not spending all the income we have put aside for you, because they're worried they're going to outlive it. I said, no, look, this money's going to come every year. It's never going to stop coming, so spend it.
Right.
Because your kids will if you don't. So spend it now, have fun with it.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
Well, how do you create, you know, like you talk about the simplest way. So for me, I just worry. I'm a anxiety-driven kind of person. I worry so much. So what is the simplest way to just start, to just create this plan?
The simplest way to start worrying, to stop worrying, to stop worrying, is to do a plan. Because we all worry. We worry, and we worry because we're afraid of what's going to happen, but we never do something about it. So we stay worried and we give ourselves an ulcer, when all it takes is a 1 hour meeting with me for me to figure out where you are now and what you want to do, and then another 1 hour meeting for me to present my team and I have come up with to put you in control. Now, I do a lot more work behind the scenes, but for you, it's only 2 hours, and we can get you all set. So that's 2 hours of never worry again.
Okay. That's the baby steps you talk about.
Baby steps, and we show you, and we actually outline it for you. We tell you the who, the why, the where, the wow, the why, and the what.
All of it.
All that, and the how. And we do it all for you, though. So we show you what we did, but we also tell you how we did it, just in case you want to do it yourself. So there's nothing worse than somebody just throwing something in front of you and you not knowing, like, when you go to get, let's say, a dozen donuts and they charge you $29, one of these big ones that stays down.
Yeah.
What if you left all your money at risk and it was going up, and then all of a sudden we have the roller coaster and it goes down, 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 and then you get ready to retire and it keeps going down? You're in trouble because number one, you don't have a guaranteed lifetime income plan yet, and then when you have to start taking money out, you're taking it out and it's way down. You're locking in your losses, and you're having to take out more stock than you ever imagined because the stocks are way down in value. So we have a solution for this. Again, we'll do a forensic fee analysis. We'll do that total retirement plan, we call it, and we'll give you a GPI plan: growth, protection, lifetime income. There's not much more anyone can ask for in this, and this puts you, man or woman, in charge of retirement.
I love the sound of that.
And you get confidence when you do that, so you don't worry anymore. I've taken people that were worried, and they were still working, and told them they could retire tomorrow. Matter of fact, they could have retired 2 or 3 years ago if they met me, and put a plan together now that gives them double the income they were going to get if they kept working. We can do that. It's about lifetime income planning, utilizing what's available out there, telling the market to take a hike, by the way. We don't need the stock market once it's done the good job. That's the second phase of the relay race, is safe money and lifetime income. And you never run out of money. Perpetually goes around and around. Sort of like playing Monopoly and never worry about going to jail. You're always pass and go.
Hey.
And we can do that for you.
I love that.
You make it sound easy.
It is a lot easier than Wall Street tries to make it look. The hardest thing, though, is getting you to pick up your phone and calling us to schedule an appointment. We're trying to help you. I know I don't like going to the doctor or dentist either. They're trying to help me as well. We are really trying to help you, and this is a way for you to perhaps get 50% more lifetime income than you ever imagined. 50% more than you were going to get.
Get started today.
Get started today. We'll show you how your numbers work with your numbers and your life.
Call Coach Pete.
%54% of Americans say that inflation is the #1 risk that they're facing. And I mean, prices have gone up. I went to Vegas a while back, and I just kept saying, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's ridiculous, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How do people handle inflation?
It is, I have a radio show, been about 22 years on national radio, and we've talked about inflation for years, but no one would pay attention. Now, the last 5 years, people are now starting to pay attention. Right. Things are getting, and they were getting more expensive as we went on, because there's no 49-cent gas anymore we had in the 70s, but it was so slow. It's sort of like when you put a frog in a pot of water, and you turn up the heat very slowly, he'll boil to death eventually. Whereas if you have the boiling pot already boiling, you drop a frog in, he'll jump out. So now we're starting to notice it, because we're seeing that boiling water. That's the inflation. So what are you going to do about it? Make sure that your assets are outperforming inflation.
Right.
We can't have our money sitting in a CD. That's losing money safely, we call it, because CDs are paying, let's say, 3%, but inflation's 5% back in the day when inflation was 6, 7, 8. But inflation's still pretty high. So we have to have our money growing faster than inflation rate. But we also don't want to take too much risk with that money.
Right.
Because you're not going to keep up with inflation at all if you're losing money.
Yeah, and the knock on income annuities is they don't protect against inflation. Well, there's several ways to do it. Number one, you can buy inflation protection, a cost of living that your check goes up every year. There are some companies out there that if the market goes up, your check will go up, but it won't go down. It'll only go up. That's one way. And so the other way is, you do what I do, and that I got 13 of them, and I've laddered them so that they kick in at different times, but that increases my income over my life.
The negative things I've heard about annuities over the year, Tom, and especially from some of the writers who don't understand the financial world, they write just about, they pick one annuity out of a bucket of thousands, and let's say they grab a variable annuity. Right. Now, I've never offered a variable annuity. I don't really believe in them. There's some good ones that seem to be coming out now, but back in the day there haven't been, but they have a lot of fees and mortality expenses, and you can lose money. So you put money in, it can go down. So the true annuities that we've always offered, you have that ratcheting up effect. The worst case scenario is you get a 0 for the year. But if you get a 0, that means everybody else is probably negative 10, 20, 30, who knows where they are.
Right.
So the next year you're starting from here, they're starting from down there. So when it goes up, you're going up. So you're not going to get rich quick in an annuity, but you're never going to get poor.
Folks, we have a very interesting guest this week. Matter of fact, if you've ever heard of something called the 4% rule in the money world, we're going to have the inventor of the 4% rule, Mr. Bill Bengen, on. And Bill is joining us from Tucson, Arizona today. Bill, welcome in.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Now, like I said, you're the inventor of the 4% rule. How did you come about that, and what inspired the research behind this 4% rule that we hear about?
Sure. I was a relatively new financial planner back in the early 90s. Not a young one. It was a second career, but I got into that, and I started fielding questions from my clients who are, basically baby boomers with about 20 to 25 years to retire, and they were just starting to think seriously about how much they should be saving and what they could spend in retirement. And I tried to find guidance on, the spending withdrawals, and couldn't find anything anywhere. No books, no magazines. Other financial advisors were all over the map with their answers. So I decided to sit down with a computer and find solutions myself.
Well, you said this is your second career, and I want to tell folks a little bit about you. You were born in Brooklyn, New York in 1947, and then you went to MIT as a rocket scientist. You had a BS in aeronautics and astronautics from MIT. That is fascinating. Then you worked for your family's soft drink bottling company after that. So you have a research mentality, don't you?
Yeah, I've learned something for every career I was in.
Tell me a little bit about the bottling career. That's a fascinating concept to me.
Yeah, well, that business had been in our family since the 1880s. It started out as a small backyard soft drink business in Brooklyn. In those days, soft drinks were not consumed year-round. Generally, they'd shut down after Labor Day and open up, sometime in the spring, which is pretty amazing when you consider what the business is like today.
Yeah.
But the business grew. They picked up the 7-Up franchise in the 1930s. The business grew and became substantial. And I was very disillusioned with what was happening with the space program, so I decided to accept the invitation to join. And glad I did. I learned a lot there.
Yeah. Well, so you got your degree, you did the bottling, and then something must have gone off in your head about 17 years into that career as a bottler, working in a bottling plant and working behind the scenes, and you decided to be a financial planner. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, first thing, we sold the business in the 100th year that was in the family. So I no longer had employment. So I had to find it, and I spoke to my wife and kids, and let's not get stuck here in the cold Northeast. Let's go somewhere where it's nice and warm in the winter. So we ended up in San Diego for many years, and then finally here in Tucson.
And so you were in the financial planning career. There's a lot of us out here, and you must have been sitting down one night and you said, well, I need to figure out how much someone could take out of their portfolio and not run out of money. Is that how what was the thought process to come up with the 4% rule? And what year was it?
Sure. That was I did research in 93 and published a paper in 94. And essentially what I was trying to answer was, what was the worst case situation in history? If you wanted to be ultra conservative and withdraw at a rate which guaranteed 30 years based on anything that's happened in the last 100 years, what would it be? Turned out to be about 4.15%. was the worst case, which applied to the person retired in October of '68 who ran into a buzzsaw market, bear markets, one after the other, and then terrible inflation, which was to increase their withdrawals.
We call that sequence of return risk when you retire into a bad environment like that. And
That's
so
right.
you tested those back in the 90s. And what surprised you most when you were doing this research on the 4% rule?
Well, I was surprised at first when I looked at the asset allocation. I wasn't sure how much you need in stocks and bonds. And when I ran the numbers, it clearly indicated you need a very substantial position stocks, 65% probably, and bonds not so much. If you go much higher than that stocks, you get hit with a bad bear market, you get devastated. If you go low and with more bonds, you won't have enough oomph in the portfolio to generate the returns you need to get the withdrawals.
Right. And when we say stocks these days, there's so many stocks, and people need to diversify properly, or they could pick the wrong stock and be bankrupt in 2 days if it's a bad stock. You see some of these stocks go like a rug pull, and they don't exist anymore. So how can someone make sure they're picking the right stocks to go along with the 4% rule?
Well, I think diversification is the key. Invest in funds broadly diversified across markets, across countries, across industries. Good high-quality funds. There are plenty of those. Most of them are index funds at very low cost, so that they are easy to swallow. You're not dealing with friction, commissions, and so forth.
Yes.
So it can be done. People today are very fortunate to have this available to them.
Now, when we hear about different rules of withdrawals that you can make sure to have a successful retirement, Susie Orman's saying 3%. I've even heard someone say, Dave Ramsey says 8%.
Uh-huh.
What are your opinion on those or that range? What do you think about that?
Well, I haven't sat down with either of them to discuss the basis of their feelings, but just looking at my own data, I use historical data. I basically reconstruct the portfolios of investors retiring in 1926 to date. I had seen nothing in history that indicates anything less than 4.7%, which is the new number, my updated number. And to get below that, we would have to have something like in the 60s and 70s again. If you remember, we just had terrible bear markets followed by years of high inflation. And I don't see that on the horizon yet, at least.
What's your opinion on the S&P 500? Is that a good, I know Vanguard has a really good one. VOO is the symbol. That's a pretty nice S&P 500 fund. What do you think about that one as far as being included in that portfolio to get this 4.7 you're talking about?
It probably makes sense to do that over the long term, although on the short term, you're going to have to be careful because stocks are very highly valued and very concentrated in a few names, so that not always doesn't end well.
Now, you said you've been quoted that the 4% rule was never meant to be a law, more of a process. How should people use it today without locking themselves into a rigid number, I guess we say?
Yeah, I've identified in my book what I call 8 elements, which are basically assumptions that you can use to personalize your withdrawal plan. They include things like the planning horizon, how long you're planning to withdraw money, what type of account, taxable, non-taxable, do you plan to leave a balance at the end of the account for your heirs, and so on. There are those 8 factors. You get values for each of those, and then you can next step is take a look at stock market valuation and inflation. And using those 2 factors, I've got tables set up so people can just look up their number.
Nice. Now, folks, we're talking to Bill Bengen, and he is the founder of the 4% rule. And Bill, for retirees worried about inflation today, what's the best way to protect their spending power long term?
Well, that's a real concern. I always say that inflation is the greatest enemy of retirees. I think in the bond portfolio, they could use tips, significant exposure to tips. And I think also they want to invest in top quality companies that go through a rough period of time of inflation and come out okay. They've got pricing power.
This is more of a psychological question than a financial question, but do you think retirees today are more likely to run out of money or leave too much unspent out of fear?
The biggest problem I'm aware of is not spending enough. A lot of folks think that they can just spend off their interest and the dividends and live off that. That really constrains you tremendously. You have a much richer lifestyle. I imagine the heirs must be very pleased with that because that means they're going to get a lot of money. But that don't help the retiree much.
Bill, I had a client about 20 years ago, and I said, I said, John, you're not spending much money. You've got all this money. He had millions of dollars. I said, you need to start spending it, having some fun because you're retired. And he said, that's a good point, Coach, because my friend, he had a friend who said if he doesn't spend it, his kids will go first class and spend all his money. So he still hadn't got that. He was still afraid to spend it, but his friend was putting pressure on him to start spending it because he said if you don't spend it, your kids will.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about what you were saying right there. What's the biggest misconception about your rule, and what do you like to clear up now, once and for all, that we're on the air? What do you think that people just don't understand about the 4% rule?
I think a lot of people think 4% or 4.7%, as I now phrase it, means that you take out 4.7% of your portfolio value every year, and that's not the system that the rule is based on. It's based on more like a Social Security system, where the first year you use your percentage. If it's 4.7%, you have $1 million in an IRA, you take out $47,000. After the first year, you throw away that 4.7% and just simply give yourself a costing of living adjustment like Social Security.
So you increase it a little bit every year, over and above that what it was. Okay, and even in a down market.
Yes, my methods are designed to get you through bear markets. I mean, one thing about bear markets, we know they're nasty and they can reduce your withdrawal rate, but they don't last forever. They'll get us a recovery and you'll come back. So it shouldn't be too impatient when that happens.
Now, tell us about A Richer Retirement, a book you wrote, and what can readers expect, and how can they learn more about your latest research as well?
Sure. Well, my book is basically designed like a cookbook where people can go to it and find recipes for a way to construct a withdrawal plan during retirement using 10 basic fundamentals. And then my website, bengenfs.com, I have developing a whole library of scenarios that people can look up something that's close to their own situation in terms of the 8 elements, then possibly use that as a template for their own retirement plan.
You know, a lot of times I'll sit down with a couple, and one of the two in this couple will be very risk adverse, and the other one will be a very big risk taker. How do you deal with a couple like that?
Unfortunately, I don't have to deal with it anymore. Not been retired.
Back in the day, how'd you do that? How'd you deal with people?
It was tough to reconcile. Yeah. You had to try and sit with them and sort out some of these financial issues. Some people are just very fearful of certain things. It's irrational, and there's not much can be done. Just reach a compromise if you can.
Now, finally, I want to wrap it up on a subject that a lot of people have heard about, because critics have said that 4% rule is obsolete after the 2021 to 2023 inflation shock. Is that fair, or is that fear-mongering that they're saying that?
No, it seems to have survived it okay. Now, of course, that's only a few years ago. We don't know what will happen over the next 10 to 15 years, which will have a lot to say about what happens to people retired back then. But right now, they're starting out okay. They got hit with a bear market, then they got a huge recovery, after that. So they're back in clover, I think.
We've been very, very lucky, haven't we, with these V-shaped recoveries we've had in the last 20 years?
Yeah, that's right.
Look at Japan. I mean, it took them forever to recover or get back on the right track, and that's the only thing that worries me, Bill. And I think that these days, though, I think the average investor is a lot more astute than they have been in the past. I think that's why they may help the recovery more than the stock companies themselves help the recovery, because people they have the fear of missing out. So when the stock goes down, they jump in and buy many times. And
that's using the correct strategy. Whether it is today, I'm not so sure. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that.
Back in the day, they say, trying to buy a falling stock was like trying to catch a falling knife. Yeah. And that is true on some of these penny stocks that go down. But for the traditional S&P 500.
What are your thoughts around long-term care?
I really like the concept. I've never liked the policies.
Yeah.
The policies haven't been good. I've been licensed to offer long-term care for over 30 years, and I've never offered a sick.
I think that's going to fit a lot more people. But even people who are already can't buy that policy, they can't buy because they have medical problems, they have health, they can still get an annuity with a long-term care rider.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, so you can always, there's always a way. Yeah, you can't take the first rejection and say, well, life stinks, so I guess I'm going to have to be where I'm at. No, there's always alternatives, Tom. And so that's what we've specialized in the last 30 years, is finding the alternatives to get you where you need to be.
And that's why I think it's so important to work with a financial professional.
You're even comfortable with us using them here on the board for you. This is a real study from a radio listener that came in, and we're not looking at the comprehensive plan here where we go tax, healthcare, Medicare, Social Security. We're looking solely at the income off their investments, because that's what we all save for. Bills and taxes never stop, but paychecks do. Like Coach Pete says, you got to replicate the income. So here's a real world example for a radio listener. They're currently 57 and 55. Husband and wife, spouse, doesn't matter what you're looking at. There's normally always an age difference most of the time, but they're looking at retiring in 7 years. So what we're looking at here, this will be age 62, and then of course with layover, overlap, this is going to be closer to 64. Now, they had about 1.4 million in retirement savings. Now, Wall Street is going to recommend that you take this example. 560,000 with an A+ rated company. That's going to be a worst case scenario for our clients. So that means that no matter what the market does, they put in 560, we know it stays 560. What we're doing is, instead of holding an IRA or a retirement account with a custodian broker like Fidelity or Vanguard, we use insurers like Nationwide, North American, Athene, Allianz, A+ rated, and they all incorporate strategies and incentives, whether it's bonus percentages, dollar values. Well, here we're just talking about income. We're not focused on what the accounts are doing for bonus or incentive. We're focusing on what they generate. So worst case scenario, we want to know, no matter what the market does, what does that 560 get us? Targeting a 7-year window. Now, age of death, we normally do spreadsheets and 30-year models, but in this scenario, let's go a little farther because people are living longer. Let's go to age 97. That income received, worst case scenario, is going to be $60,000 a year. Now, that's off of the 560,000 number. This is assuming 0% returns, which means by age 97, there'll be no money left, but they're still getting the income. The spouse is, no matter who outlives who, or if they die at the same time, that standard of living is going to be met. We're not counting outside accounts. We're not counting Social Security. We're solely looking at that 560 alone. Now, we know we got bigger issues if the market does 0% every single day. So let's look at actual performance. 7 to 15% over the same life expectancy. We're not looking at a set rate of return here. This is where most calculators get in trouble. They run a fixed 7, 9, 10% number. The market doesn't do that every single year. The market fluctuates. It has years of -20, +20, 7, 15, 55. Let's just say it stayed between the historic averages over the next 40 years. That means that the income, instead of starting at 60,000, would start closer to 70,000. 57, 55, wait 7 years, what's it do? Well, that income is going to continue to grow every single year as well to 160,000 plus. That's inflation protection. But the goal is to live off the icing without touching the cake. What does this number grow to? Well, as I just mentioned, we're taking income, but our goal is to not drain principal. That's going to be over 3.7 million left for their heirs in that same period of time. These strategies are targeting growth, income, consistency without picking growth or safety. We're eliminating the focus in the standard norm and focusing on income yield so that the outside accounts, Social Security, everything else is icing on the cake. If you want your own plan or strategy, or you want to see what your numbers do, give us a call, shoot us a text, go to our website and just poke us and let us know what you're looking for, and we'll give you your own exact numbers.
Invest in these meme coins unless you have a strategy to get in and get out real quick. Don't sit around when it goes up a little bit with your calculator saying, well, if it goes up to this amount, I'm going to be a multi-trillionaire.
Yes.
Of course, it's never going to get there and you're going to lose all your money. So if you've doubled your initial investment, sell half of what you put in, and now you're playing with the bookies money, we call it, because you've got all the money you invested back.
There you go.
Well, a whole lot easier to hold something long-term, Bruce, when it's not really costing you.
the big risks in retirement is sequence of returns risk.
Oh, yeah.
Americans do not understand that risk. So kind of, how do you explain it?
Well, basically, the day you retire is a very big day, and it can become a gigantic day if the market starts to go down that day. So now you're starting to take money out of your retirement. This is if you don't have a real plan put in place. A lot of you're trying to manage yourself. You're just going to take money out of the stock market accounts you have, and you're going to supposedly you have that 92% chance of being okay. But the market keeps going down. You keep taking money out as it goes down. The beauty of the stock market, if you have the time horizon on your side, is if a stock goes down and you really believe in it, you don't have to liquidate it. You hold it till it comes back up. If all that money in the stock market is money you need for retirement, you're going to have to start liquidating that money because you need it. So that's why we say keep that stock market money alone, build a force field around it with annuities. So have annuities give you the income of retirement and leave your stocks alone. Therefore, the stock market can do its thing. Stock market doesn't go up all the time. It doesn't go down all the time. But over time, it goes up if you have that time to leave it alone. Usually people buy high and sell low. That's what happens. But if you're selling low because you have to, because you need that income, you're not in the right place. You don't have a true retirement plan.
Yeah, and what's even worse is the more the market goes down, the more you have to sell.
Yes.
Because your shares are worth less and less, so you've got to sell more and more to get that in.
So you're locking in your losses.
And so people who retire into a down market, if they don't have a plan like you're talking about, they're just taking money out of the market, they have a very high risk of totally running out of money.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who retires into a bull market, they can take money out. They have a very high chance of success. It's just we don't know what's going to happen on the day we retire. So I call it good luck or bad luck. And I don't want to subject my retirement to good luck or bad luck. And that's why I have a plan like what you talk about.
That's the Vegas mentality. We don't have time in our retirement accounts to have the Vegas mentality.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend, Coach Pete, and I am so excited to see you. We've really dived in 2025, looked at the good, the bad, and the ugly about my finances, and I mean, it was tough, I'm not going to lie, but now that we've gotten it going,
to pay that.
wow.
And don't wait till like the day before. Make sure you pay that off like 30 days before they say that if you don't pay it, they're going to get you. Okay?
Oh, financial termites.
Yes.
That's why you got to get a copy of his book. And I think for me, the next question is, what do I need to be focused on with, investing? Do I need to get into crypto? I'm trying to maximize Jackson's college savings account and then my Roth IRA. And it's a lot. Like it, honestly, it's hard for me to manage the day to day.
Instead of jumping right into crypto, like getting your own Coinbase account, some of the brokerages like Fidelity and stuff have their own Bitcoin account. So they're investing in Bitcoin for you, so you don't have to go through all that. You just invest in their ETF, it's called, like a mutual fund. And IBIT is one of the ones you get in that you can own crypto without having to go through all that crypto game. IBIT is a symbol. It's doing pretty well since it's come out. So look at that. IT is a symbol. It's doing pretty well since it's come out. So look at that. You see on the screen. Or let's give the number out right now.
Yes, 919-794-7900. Or text Amanda to 600-700.
Now, let's talk taxes for a minute, because taxes right now are historically low. What should people be doing about their tax situation or retirement?
Just came out with a book this year. It's over 250 pages called Tax Savvy Retirement. And so who cares how much you have if it's going to get killed by the tax man? If you have a big piece of cheese, it turns into Swiss cheese really quick before you would see it. So we need to make sure there's ways that we can isolate some money from the tax man. There's some special tax balancing we could do. If you have a big gain and a loss, we'll sell the loss and sell the gain and come to that, take that money and now you have a tax-free, basically. So there are a lot of tax strategies out there that are overlooked, underutilized, and should be used all the time to put people in control of their retirement.
Let's dig a little deeper into that, because Roths play a big role in that.
Love the Roth.
And cash value life insurance can play a big role. So talk about some of the ways that you can get people tax-free income.
Yeah, well, the Roth is a good one, but the problem is the more money you make, the less you can qualify for it. So what I found, I call it Roth times 2, is the life insurance industry. Yeah. And matter of fact, if you haven't had your life insurance policy, if you haven't had it analyzed in the last 5 years, you need to, because some of the life insurance companies, matter of fact, the biggest ones, the A-rated ones and above, have come up with something called a living benefit rider on your life insurance accounts. If you have a new policy, you may have that. If you don't, you really need to get it looked at, and you need one, because what this lets you do, Tom, lets you take your death benefit out while you're still here to pay for long-term care. So there's no need for a long-term care policy anymore if you have a life insurance policy. And the beautiful thing about a permanent life insurance policy is once you qualify, they can never kick you out. They can never raise your rates. You can even pay your policy off. So you could be sitting on an asset you don't even know. If you have a life insurance policy right now that doesn't have this, you're costing yourself a lot of money.
Yeah. You know, I've moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. My premium was $226,000 a year on a 12-pay life policy, but all that money and more is sitting in there that I can take out tax-free. And what a lot of people don't realize is much of the money in annuities and life insurance is creditor protected. So they can't sue that. I'm from the state of Arizona. It's 100% creditor protected. That matters to business owners.
That's gigantic. That's huge. I mean, who wants to work all your life to build something only to be sued away with it? I mean, if people can attack you these days when they see that big, fat, juicy wallet you have, you're going to be a big target.
Here we are again, Chapter 5 of the Big Book on Retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the author himself, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Here we are, developing spending discipline. And I want, each of your chapters here, Coach, you start off with a quote. I wanted to bring this one up. It says, it's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits.
Yeah, and this is budgeting.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't like to call it a budget. I like to call it a spending plan. Yeah. So let's write down, how do you figure out how much you're spending now? Well, you can look at your credit cards and your checkbook and see all the stuff added up. Or you can write everything down when you spend. That gets kind of tedious. Keep the receipts, scan them in your computer, that kind of thing. But then you come up with rough estimates about how much it's costing you to enjoy your lifestyle now. This is when you're working. And so that when you retire, we can have a judgment about what you're going to spend in retirement. So if you like to go out to eat on the weekends, you're probably going to start going out to eat more on weekdays when you're retired because every day's a weekend. So we need to factor that in.
That's good.
And the whole reason why we save and put money, our money.
Spending discipline, it's not just the big main spending plan that you develop. It's funny because it reminds me of mitigating taxes in retirement and so many other things. You're building small things like your book, The Fine.
Minimize or eliminate fees, commissions, expenses, and too much risk. And as we get into retirement, we want to be in control of our money, not our money controlling us. And we help people with that every single day. Approach retirement on your terms. We can help you. Thomas, the numbers are on the screen there. You can see that. Yep. The book will help you get your arms around it, and we can help you put that plan together. No cost or obligation, by the way, if you're seeing this video. Just give us
Coach Pete and his fiduciary team. As he said, the numbers there on the screen, and we will see you for Chapter 6.
And we roll all the different 401ks in there. Now you have them all in one place. And they're a lot better investment options when you have the own personal IRA than the 401ks. 401ks usually give you maybe 10 to 30 different options. Or do your own research. I think a lot of financial advisors may try to shoot you down again because they are maintaining the hold of your money in their managed accounts. And if you leave them with money, it's going to be less money they can manage, less money they can charge you on.
Well, and let's be clear where I stand on it. I'm not saying put all your money anywhere. I say 1 to 3%. Some people say 5, some people say more. I'd say no more than 5 as somebody who's
just like physical silver and gold.
Just a small amount, because the performance can be so high, it can help the entire portfolio.
And again, if you just put a little bit in there, if it does go away, you didn't lose the fortune.
Right. And now there's even a Bitcoin short. So if you don't believe in Bitcoin, you can buy something that if it goes to zero, you're like your million headed out to zero. So and just once Bitcoin went up, what is my risk? My risk is that it goes back down. And so I bought some of the short just to hedge against it going down. I hope it goes to zero, I hope the hedge goes to zero. But if Bitcoin goes to zero, I'll make.
So you're protected on both sides.
On both sides.
That's when once you start winning the game, you win the game, and you're winning Monopoly, right? You have Park Place and Boardwalk right now. You can build all the houses you want,
right?
I'm back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, everybody I know has a side hustle. The biggest thing for me is, why are we not treating the side hustle like our retirement?
Plan needs to be a long-term plan, like your whole life. What do you want to do when you retire? Where do you want to go? How much is it going to cost? Let's put a plan together that will fund that for you so that when you get there, you don't have to ask permission. When we were little, we had to ask permission. When we're older, we shouldn't have to ask permission. But if you don't have money, you're going to have to ask permission.
It's going to be hard.
You got to ask the bank, can I please have some time income from your money? and know what that income's going to be ahead of time. Now, that sounds like a lot of steps, but we do that for every single one of our clients, and I've done it for the last 33 years.
What do I need to do to have that backup college plan for Jackson?
Yeah, well, my daughter Carrie, I've had 2 529 plans for her over the years. So a North Carolina one and a Utah one, and she's using the Utah one. She's going to University of Alabama, and that's not a cheap place. So lucky for her daddy put some money aside. But there's more to life than the 529 plan. You could put money in your 401k plan and then borrow against it to fund your college education for your child if you wanted to.
Ooh.
I don't really recommend that. I think
Yeah.
you're better off doing the 529 plan, having something that's segmented and that's destined to go to education instead of saying, I want to rob my retirement so my child can go to school.
You know, recently we went on our bucket list trip to Montana, and I met this couple, and they told me that they travel in the country, and they were well into their 70s. And I'm like, how in the world did they afford to do that? And I thought about it. They played the cards right. They retired because they invested and they did it the right way.
You know, investing is one thing, but what I've seen a lot of successful folks lately, they have a tax plan. So that's why I just wrote the book, The Tax Savvy Retirement. Doesn't matter how much money you have if Uncle Sam's stealing it all. So let's design your retirement money in a way that you will benefit more than Uncle Sam will.
You are right here in Apex, North Carolina.
Yep.
This is where you're located, and you can come visit. I mean, literally, he's a North Carolina man.
You know, Amanda, I've noticed an alarming trend lately where a lot of advisors from other states are trying to use AI and use a lot of advertising to get people to do a Zoom meeting with them, and all of a sudden you're sending them a check to a different state. I would never do that. So we're local. Come see us. Come. We have 27,000 square feet here in the Coach Pete land, we call it, in Apex. Come see us.
All right, Coach, what is the financial fill-up?
And there's the sounder. You remember when you're little, maybe you don't, some people do, being in the back seat. I remember being in the back seat of Mom's station wagon, and she'd go to get some gas. She'd pull in, and she'd hear. And then the guys would come running out. They'd check the oil, clean the windshield, and fill the car with gas.
Yay.
All for 49 cents a gallon.
Oh, I love that.
That was back in Wisconsin in 1974, right before the embargo and all that stuff happened. Anyway, it's all about making sure that we have enough income, and that's why we started talking about a financial fill-up, because it has to be something that we can understand. And when you get to retirement, you understand the fact that your bank account magically fills back up every year. That's a financial fill-up.
Coach, tell me about this race car team that we're building.
Yeah, well, you know, when you watch these races on TV, these are multi-million-dollar cars that are zooming around that track. Gigantic engines of the best of all technology. But what if you spent your whole life building a team, a race team, and when it came to race day, you forgot to order tires for the car?
Oh, no.
That's what's happening to most people these days with these gigantic 401k balances, or these retirement fund balances. They see a big lump sum, but they don't know what kind of lifetime income they can get from that. That's the tires on the car. And without the tires, the car ain't going where? It ain't going nowhere.
I thought I couldn't handle my own retirement.
Yep.
I'm just going to be honest because I'm a woman. But the truth is that anybody can call you and anybody can sit down and say, here are my finances. I need to set them up. Let's go.
I see a lot of people that just want to get their arms around what's going on.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times one of the two spouses handles that by default. Many times it's a guy. I don't know why, but that's what happens. And so I think both spouses need to know what's going on in their retirement accounts especially, but every account. And you need to learn. Don't just ask your spouse. Learn why your spouse is selecting what they're selecting, so that if your spouse isn't here, you can still go forward and not be intimidated. All right. So we spend a lot of time with folks like this, especially divorcees or whatever. So getting them right on the back on the track.
I need a concierge service. Do you handle that?
Oh yeah.
I got enough going on.
We have a private wealth division for $10 million and up too. But what I spend my time most of the time on our second floor, which is for anyone who wants to get started with a plan, has a plan they're not sure of, had a plan with an advisor they don't really trust anymore, or losing money, whatever.
Yeah.
Or getting close to retirement and realizing your planner never put together for you a retirement plan. If you look at all your statements and you don't see here's what your monthly income will be in retirement forever, in other words, can't go away, you don't have a true retirement plan. And most of you listening don't. If you have a 401k, you don't have a retirement plan. You have a building instrument that's building money up for retirement, but it's not a retirement plan.
So, Coach, most people are just saving money.
Yep.
Building up, like you said.
You can get from that lump sum in that big skyscraper account you have called a 401k.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of income you can get from that. My grandparents were working. They would work for 30 or 40 years for a company. They'd retire. The company would start paying them a check. That was called a pension.
Yeah.
Well, they took pensions away a long time ago. They said they went the way of the dinosaur, probably about that time. So now it's up to you to design your own income plans with the money you've already put aside. So that 401k, that big skyscraper with no furniture, let's make sure it's furnished. And that's by designing an income plan on the money you already put aside.
The years are flying by, and I always say this to you: you need a good lawyer, you need a good tax man, and you better have a good financial planner, and that's what we have with you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's all about looking at what my clients want. I'm serving my client, not the other way around. I wish Congress would realize that too. They're serving us, not the other way around.
Yes.
But we serve our clients, and we make sure our clients are protected and taken care of and have no worries as they approach retirement and go into retirement. We call that the financial red zone. So if you're in that financial red zone, which is 5 years out of retirement, I like to say age 52. Because I'm 59 now, and about 52, I started worrying about retirement. So I'm using the Coach Pete meter right here, and the Coach Pete meter says at 52 and above, you really need your own total retirement plan, which looks at what you have now and translates that to lifetime income for you and your family. So if you don't have that, you need it, call right now. We'll put one together for you, a total retirement plan at no cost or obligation.
Ready for questions and answers. This is fun. It's been women and money. If I say it too fast, I think women in money. But we're going to talk about some financial challenges that each of us have had. I have Miss Jana, Miss Amanda, I'm Jackie, and Coach Pete. Yay, Coach Pete.
Hello.
It's going well, don't you think? What a fun series.
That's
Yeah,
right.
really fun.
A guy can't complain when he's surrounded by 3 beautiful women. can he?
Aw, flattery gets you everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Flattery gets you everywhere, and confidence in money gets you a long way. I think as I get older, I get a little bit more confident in it, and kind of wrapping up like what we talked about. It's just the hard stuff is what I call it. These are the hard things that you have to face through the stages, and you just have to. You have to approach it. You have to hit it dead on, and handle it. And once you handle it, you check in with Coach Pete once a year to go over your plan. And then your plan is doing its job all by itself.
There's a phrase I use, and when you guys think about it, it'll make sense. Confidence with evidence.
Oh.
So my client, you're going to have to answer to them down the road. So
yeah, that's true.
but let's put a plan together. You're going to have to answer to them down the road. So
yeah, that's true.
but let's put a plan together. We'll be all right. You'll be okay.
Ladies, I was wondering if I could ask you both, do you feel regret, like some regret that you didn't know this stuff before you started working with Coach Pete a little bit?
I do. You know,
You're still young, though.
I know, but where does
hard.
this leave me?
Yeah. I think it's hard because I grew up with friends who their parents had it figured out. Like I learned about a Roth IRA from a girlfriend of mine's dad when I was 18 years old. I'm like, what is a Roth? And then I started doing research, and they were trying to tell me this. My parents didn't know anything about that. They were check to check, barely graduated, just working as hard as they could to keep a roof over our heads. So we didn't have those conversations at the dinner table when I was growing up. So I think the hard part was knowing, like, oh gosh, at the time when I started my Roth, it was, I had to put $4,000 in a year and
Fantastic.
and max it out. So it was like, that's a lot of money at that age. But, I just worked hard every month to divide it out and to max it out, and said that was what I was going to do. But I think my regret is not sharing that information with other people coming up, because you just don't know what you don't know. And you don't also know if they're going to receive it from somebody your age. Like,
That's
are they
so
going to
true.
listen to you? I
We're
don't
putting
know.
together a course now. It's going to be a bunch of different pieces, but it's going to be grade school, middle school, high school,
love that.
college, and after college.
That's
Where
great.
they're gonna
Benefited
be-
from that.
What to do financially. Even grade school. I mean, if you're in grade school and you learned about a Roth or a dividend reinvestment program, you get your little. When I had a paper out when I was 10, I wish somebody had told me about a Roth. I've been putting some money away
There you
instead
go.
of buying candy all the time.
Same.
But again, it's about knowing the right way to do things. And you're smart. You guys you're on the right track right now.
It's still tough though. I think it's you're still always questioning, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And what do I need to be? I have a 13-year-old brother. My dad had a midlife crisis. That's another story for another
Wow.
time.
We went there.
But I try to explain to him, I'm like, write down on a sheet of paper everything that you're spending, or he said the other day, like, I don't like the way we're living. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, so I made him write down like everything my dad spends. And I'm like, if you don't like your life now, like this is what you'd have to make every year to even be able to afford this lifestyle, then you better be a doctor, lawyer, or surgeon or something to be able to afford this. And I think that kids these days don't know where the money comes from, how the money gets spent, and just what it takes to live. And I think, so to wrap it up, and what I was trying to say is the regret I have is not being harder on being more of a friend than a coach. to the younger people in my life.
Yeah, but we're going to make it easier with that series. We're going to come out with a workbook series for
But I feel
ages.
you on will they listen to you. I feel like even in broadcasting, you know, in general, and being in radio and having blonde hair, they never listen to me. They think, you know.
Well, I get the feeling people don't listen to me
confirm.
sometimes too on air.
Yeah.
So our points are relevant and very important, and a lot of
Yeah.
people just ignore them, I guess, and think everything's going to be fine. Ignoring this problem is not going to make it go
No,
away,
right.
and financial problems get worse. Sort of like having cancer, it's going to get worse, not better, over your years.
Unless you take steps, yes.
Take a big step and address it and accomplish it and conquer it, and then put you in control.
You know, I was the complete opposite of Amanda, and I still kind of am. I don't want to be bothered with the details. I really don't.
Well,
Just handle it.
I have a lot of clients like that, Jana. They just want it done.
Yeah, I want it done, and I
Yep.
control so many different things in my life and my career. When it comes to this, I defer to the expert. I can't be an expert in everything, like you can't be in everything, but you are an expert in this.
I don't repair my own cars anymore.
Yeah, and I trust you. And so I think I wish I had done my research earlier, and it wasn't to educate myself on where to put my money and what to do. My education earlier would have been find a partner.
Yeah. Well, that's right. It's somebody you could trust, a teammate.
Somebody you
Yeah,
could trust
yeah.
where I knew
Yes.
let's check in once a year or twice a year or whatever the thing is, because, you know, at different points in life, I wasn't working with that much.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been in sales forever, and I have huge years and I have okay years.
Right.
And I needed you many years ago to tell me on those huge years,
Where to put the money.
don't take quite so many trips.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a lot of clothes.
But you have a lot of good
Yeah.
memories
Stupid
too.
stuff. I have
So
good
those are
memories.
priceless.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really, I can't be mad at you for
I
spending
know,
money
and
there.
I don't regret it, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine. I didn't start a 401k until I met my husband. His dad is a accountant and whatever, he's doing our taxes. He goes, "Wait, can you give me your 401k information?" I was like, "I don't have one." He goes, "Well, doesn't your company match?" Or I was like, "You know what? I'm not super sure, but let me look into that." And so I was 31 until I started a 401k.
Yeah, but at least you
okay.
started.
All right.
See, the
That's
secret
okay.
is to start. I don't care what age you are. It's to start. Start a 401k, start your retirement plan,
Yeah.
start your long-term care plan, start something today. Don't wait till next year, because next year might not come, and if it does, it might not be the best circumstances. So let's get things done now while the water's calm,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you guys, I want to know from each one of you the financial challenges you've had or faced over the years and how you overcome it.
Oh,
How
go ahead, Jana.
So what about you? How did you overcome your financial? What were they and how did you overcome them?
You need a minute? I've got the worst one. Yours
ahead.
can't be worse than mine.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I
Mine, I
racked
mean.
up a horrific amount of credit card debt. And I was in my 20s, and I, like, you know, we already said, I'm living the high life here. And I was wearing the clothes and the shoes, and it was a fraud because it was all mounted on a credit card. And I didn't pay the balance when it came. I didn't even, I paid the minimum, and that accrued. I mean, it just racked up. And one day I remember opening the thing and I would have anxiety. And I looked at that number, and it was a 5-figure, and it was a big number.
It's like getting a report
and
card
I
in the
remember
mail.
thinking,
Yes.
oh my God, this is half of my income. What am I going to do? And it's, you know, I'm getting a chill because American Express basically called me and was like, "Do you have any scissors?"
Yeah, cut the card.
Cut it up. But that was my biggest wobble and embarrassment. And I didn't tell anybody because I was so mortified that I had let it get out of control that I didn't want to call Jackie and say, "Hey, I know you're smart about this stuff." I didn't want to admit it to anybody. I wanted it to die and go away.
What lesson did you learn from that?
Holy cow, if I can't afford to pay this credit card off this month, don't buy it.
Yeah,
if I couldn't
that's
pay it in
great.
cash, I can't pay it on a credit card.
Great lesson to learn. And I don't think you should extend a car loan any longer than 4 years, by the way.
I
People are
agree
doing
with
5,
that.
6, 7,
Yeah.
8 years.
Oh,
That's
72
crazy.
months.
See, really, if you can't afford to pay cash for it, you really can't afford the car. But
Yeah.
but my max loan's always been 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah.
Because that's bad enough, right? But
Yeah.
you see some of the folks, they're on their 4th car after they started buying overpriced cars, and they would drive for 2 years and then trade it in for another car.
Roll that
so
negative
now that
equity.
4th car has a value, let's say, of $60,000, yet their loan they owe is $80,000 because
Oh,
it's
boy.
all
So
the
you're
other
paying
bills
all
on the
the
cars on there. So
depreciation.
be very careful about toys. Toys can get you in a lot of trouble, especially expensive man toys, we call them, like
I was about
cars.
to say, they think
but
toys
women
are for
fall
the
for that
boys,
too.
but
Yeah.
But clothes for women, makeup, clothes,
true.
bags.
Shoes.
Yeah.
You know, we all, I have a daughter. I know, she's 20, so I know exactly what you guys are falling for. But, and it's, don't feel bad because Madison Avenue spends millions of dollars a day to get you to do the bad things you're doing.
No.
I was
So the
influenced.
secret is, my mom taught me this a long time ago. When we go in the store, we didn't have much money. She said, "Keep in mind, little Peter," you know, little Pete. She said, Petey, what she used to call me, Petey, is you have the money, and the stores are trying to steal it from you. So she said
like
that.
that. She's smart.
And I
Money
go
in
in the
her
store,
pocket.
and I still remember that because your money goes. Well, you ever broke a $100 bill before? How fast does it
gone.
disappear?
It is gone.
So money goes a lot faster. How
Once
long
it's
did it take
broke.
to get that $100 bill? A lot
Yes.
longer than it took to lose it, right? You go to McDonald's a couple times, the $100 bill's gone these days. So be very careful about how you spend it. But Janet, you learned your lesson. And
was
so
a hard
then
one,
when
yeah.
you got, so you probably your credit had to recover a little bit after you
You
paid the
bet it
bill off.
did.
Your credit score went down, but now you build your credit back up. And when you charge something now, what do?
Pay it off,
Pay
as,
it
soon
off.
as soon as the bill
Pay
comes.
it off. See, I think it's
Get your points.
Wall Street Journal called me the credit card king in 2012. They wrote an article about me because I said I like to charge a lot, but I pay it off at the end of each month, and therefore your credit score gets higher and higher.
That's the tricky
and you get more
part.
rewards points. So
There
you
you
can be a
go.
credit card queen
Yeah.
by charging but paying off.
Yeah.
Charge it, pay it off. I remember the old Flintstones episode. Betty and Wilma got credit cards, and I remember them saying, "Charge it!" They run to the store, and then Fred and Barney kept getting the bills. So even back on the Flintstones, they were saying, "Don't charge on credit cards."
Oh, that's
All right. What about you, Jackie? What's the biggest financial challenge you've had? Or are we done with yours? Is there part two for you?
Yeah, I just feel nauseous, so let's move on. Let's
Is
move
there
on.
a part
from
two?
No, there's not.
So, but you overcame that.
I did, and it hurt so badly that I can feel it all
Hurt
over
so
again.
good, we say.
I-
You sell new ones or do you service old ones?
Oh, all new, you know, the people
They're
who are
real fancy. Do you
retired.
sell new ones or do you service old ones?
Oh, all new, you know, the people
They're
who are
real fancy, those
retired.
fancy bikes?
Yes, and it was a great
Spend a lot
business.
of money on a bike
Yeah.
these days.
and all that
they're
stuff. But he liked to trade some of the bicycles for other things, and there was a little bit of
Nose candy stuff?
I don't know if it was that or he just wanted to get a new car, and then the mechanic, right? And the
So he's
mechanic on here today, upon his death, at 39 years old. At 39 years old.
Oh gosh, that's
Gosh.
so young.
7 days away from being 40.
How did he pass?
Oh gosh, that's
Gosh.
so young.
7 days away from being 40.
How did he pass away?
He took too many of those funny pills that the doctor gave you.
You know what just stuck out to me though is you used the same word I did, that you were so embarrassed. You didn't want anybody to know that you had financial
and
issues.
we need to get past that because if other people hear the story, they won't do the same thing usually, right?
Yeah, but that was a different era. You know what I'm saying? This information just wasn't available to me. I wish I would have. And some of the things that you talk about, this lifetime income and all that, those savings vehicles and distribution vehicles are new and have really neato tires and great bells on the bicycle and ding dong. It's just some bells and whistles that.
Financial products get better every year, just like new cars do. Like the 2020 car is not as good as the 20. Well, Janice can do an analysis for you. All right, for you.
Okay. Oh, gosh, there's so many. I think my biggest regret is not having the confidence to ask for a raise, and because you're paying yourself. And I allowed people that have worked for 20 years. I've worked for so many companies, done so many things, sang at the bars in Nashville.
I love the Nashville bar scene.
Yeah,
It's fun. Like different bands everywhere. It's cool.
Real estate, wholesale. I've worked everywhere. Don't let them hit you down on that. And then use that money to invest.
Save it. Yeah.
Don't let them hit you down on that. And then use that money to invest.
Save it. Yeah.